I want to welcome everyone to Devos here today. And all this week, I'm going to be talking about storms don't last forever. We're talking about storms all week long. So if you're going through something right now, if you're dealing with some big problem right now, this is the devotion in which you need. Okay, I want to talk to you today about staying strong and weathering out the storm. Now, let's first of all go to 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8. It says, now here's Paul talking about a trial, a storm he was going through. He said, we were so utterly burdened beyond our own strength that we were despaired of life itself. Could you imagine the great apostle Paul talking like this? I mean, he said, it was almost like we didn't want to live. It was just so horrible. He said, indeed, we felt that we had received the sentence of death. But that was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. Now, I'll give you a friend. I don't know if I've ever heard a sermon on this verse of Scripture. I mean, a lot of times people don't want to hear this. He said, we felt like we were going to die. But notice here, he said God was teaching us through that storm, through that problem, to rely upon God and not to rely upon ourselves. I like this. Listen, this is what I want you to do. Rather than focusing on the problem, I want you to start focusing on the promises of God. Now go with me in Psalms here, 37 verse 27. It says, turn away from evil and do good, so you will dwell forever. You say, what's that have to do with problems? Listen, all of life, everything you do has to do about dwelling forever. You know, when we look at problems, we act as if this is all we get, just what we get in this life. That's not true. As believers, we've got to keep our eyes just focused on the kingdom. Focused on the kingdom, because that problem's going to end, but you are going to live forever. Okay, now we have this give up mentality when a big problem comes along. Now we need to be like a beaver. Now, I don't know if you've seen beavers at work, but I lived in the country, and beavers are always building dams. And if you go in there and you destroy that dam today, I'm telling you, that beaver will work all night long and he will rebuild his dam. Now that's the way believers ought to be. They have a beaver mentality rather than a give up mentality. Listen, if you want to see the sunshine, then you have to weather the storm. Now, in Pittsburgh here, it's actually a blessing that's kind of cloudy here. Our happiness is not centered on the sunshine, or you're not going to make it in Pittsburgh. It's one of the cloudiest places in the United States. Okay, but we're used to it. And when the sun shines, boy, that's a happy day. And you're, wow, we have blue skies all day long. And so, but you don't appreciate the sunshine unless you go through the storm. Now listen, you can't stop trouble. You just can't stop it. Okay, but you don't have to give a chair to it for it to sit on. Some people have all sorts of trouble, and then all they do is think about trouble, and they just invite more trouble because they keep talking about the trouble that they have. Look here in Hebrews 13:5. God says, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. So we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear in any way what man shall do unto me. Now, if you're afraid about something right now, I want you to remember this. Fear is faith in the devil. So don't feed your fear. Listen, faith doesn't mean that you're trusting that God is going to stop that storm, but faith is trusting him that he's going to give you the power and the strength to get through that storm. Now, there's some things that come along and you realize you're either going to swim or you are going to sink. The race is not given to the swift or to the strong. The race is given to the person who endures to the very end. Listen, no storm will ever last forever. The rain is going to stop. It's not going to rain for 365 days. The rain will stop and your storm will come to an end.